been doing tree nut desensitization for several years now, probably about 5 or so. And today I'm sharing our story and hopefully giving you a practical review of our journey. What I share today will give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of OIT food allergy treatment so you can make an informed decision whether it's right for your family. Let's get to it. Hey food allergy mama, if you're here, you've likely experienced the scary and lonely food allergy diagnosis with your child. Unfortunately, food allergy parents aren't taught how to navigate the food allergy lifestyle, and it's easy to feel alone and discouraged sometimes. But I'm here to show you that food allergy life, it doesn't have to feel restrictive, scary, or isolated. I'm Corinna, and I'm a 17-year food allergy mom and food allergy coach at Friendly Pantry Consulting. I specialize in making food allergy life safer and less worrisome for food allergy families like yours. I'm not perfect, but over 17 years, I've learned a lot the hard way, and I'm sharing the secrets and resources you won't hear anywhere else that will help you feel confident living with food allergies faster and easier than I did. From introducing allergens, travel, navigating school, and educating friends and family, this podcast will give you the essential tips and strategies you need to help your food allergy child and family thrive. Welcome to the show. In case you're new here, I'm a 17-year food allergy mom, and I've been a food allergy mentor to parents for about 7 years. And my oldest daughter had milk and egg allergies, which she luckily outgrew. And my youngest daughter has had peanut and tree nut allergies since she was a baby. And I write blog posts about life as a food allergy mom, and I've shared some of the hard and heartbreaking parts of our journey, as well as the practical knowledge I've learned along the way. If you're curious about some of those stories, check out my previous episodes, especially the earlier ones like 1 to 6, since I share a lot of those relatable stories there. As we start this episode, I want you to know that when it comes to food allergies, you are not alone. Yes, food allergies are scary and worrisome, but there are ways to decrease your worry and keep your child safe too. So if you decide that food allergy treatment is not for you or your child, there is no guilt, and your child can still be safe without missing out on life. I'm here to help share my expertise so that when you can show your child a full life without as much worry. I've been where you are and I care. This episode is not meant to make you feel guilty or to influence you either way about doing OIT or not, but instead, I hope to share experiences with it. That said, if avoidance is best for your family, your child can still have a normal life. I have quick and easy workshops to help make navigating school, travel, social events, and almost everything safer and less worrisome. I will post the links in the show notes to those workshops so that you can get the help you need when you need it. Another thing I need to mention is that every oral immunotherapy journey is going to be different based on the allergens and the doctor and your child's personal medical circumstances. While there may be similarities, your journey is definitely going to be different from ours. So please do not compare our journey to yours, and understand that none of this information is meant to be medical advice or the specific way to do OIT. Please consult your doctor for any questions or medical advice, because every person is different and your doctor will be able to recommend what's best for your child. Okay, so let's get to that food allergy treatment or OIT story. I feel like it's kind of amazing that we're actually on this journey, because when my daughter was probably around 8, our allergist told us that she had come to the age where she was unlikely to outgrow her allergies to tree nuts and peanuts. And he actually told us to prepare to have these allergies for a lifetime. Now, this was hard to take, but the funny thing was the next year we went to see him, and there was this new treatment and he was super excited about it, and he really wanted us to try oral immunotherapy. So for the past few years, we've been working our way through oral immunotherapy for tree nuts. And it was about 1.5 years ago, I guess, that the doctor decided that we start doing it for peanuts as well. So now we're doing both at the same time. So a lot of questions that I get about oral immunotherapy, one of the most popular ones is, what does it actually do? And our allergist explained it to us in a way that it says that oral immunotherapy actually trains the immune system so that it no longer sees allergens as a threat to the body. And we started the journey by doing oral challenges to some of the tree nuts that our allergist thought my daughter would be least allergic to based on her blood test numbers over the years. So she had been taking blood test numbers ever since she had first been diagnosed with allergies. And he kind of just tracked that and took a look at them and decided which ones were the best ones to start with. And for us, that turned out to be pistachios and then cashews. And our doctor actually decided that we could do the oral food challenges for these ones at home, which as I look back on it now, I do not know how I did that because we were really worried. I mean, we had lived our whole life avoiding these nuts, and then we had to actually take these nuts and give them to my daughter. And honestly, it took a lot of bravery to do that at home by ourselves to start this out. I even remember my daughter, I had to give her a lot of encouragement and support to get through it, but we did it. I actually have a blog post, not a podcast episode yet, that talks about some of the tips about doing an oral food challenge at home. And I will post that link in the show notes so that you can read that if you are interested in learning more about it. But later on, as we got to nuts that were potentially higher allergens for my daughter, we did the oral food challenges in the office. And this is how they would usually play out. They always started by checking her vitals, making sure everything was okay, and then they would put a bit of the nut inside of my daughter's lip without her swallowing. Next, she would swallow a tiny bit. And lastly, she would swallow a little bit more. And in between each application, there was about 15 to 20 minute breaks, so they would check her vitals again and see if any reactions were occurring. Now, this was all very controlled, and the doctor would monitor all her vitals and watch closely for signs of reactions. And both my daughter and I, of course, were nervous, but we've had successful challenges so far. And I know that some people don't. And that's one of the hardest parts about OIT is that if you have a bad reaction, you just never know what's going to happen. It can be so nerve-wracking when you have those appointments, and it's scary because you have to be okay with the fact that you're giving your child their allergen, and it can be really hard if you do have a reaction. So that's one of the downfalls I would definitely say about OIT is that it is a roller coaster and it's emotional. So keep that in mind as you consider it. After passing each challenge, we would then be instructed to have daily doses of each nut. And it usually started with a really small amount, which was barely even visible. It was kind of like the size of the tip of a toothpick. And she would take this dose daily for many months. And then when we went back, sometimes the allergist would look at her blood work and decided that we would stay at that dose longer. And once he was happy with the blood work numbers, then we would increase the daily amount of nuts. And I have no way of proving this, but I honestly feel like our allergist was quite conservative because of the small amounts that we were taking and the small amounts of jumping that we do. We don't go from a little bit to a lot. It's small changes each time. And maybe that's why my daughter didn't have or hasn't had any major reactions because we do increase it such a small amount each time. Because of that, it does take a long time. So our allergist has said, even now, after this many years, it could be another 3 to 5 years more of challenges and daily doses before she can actually eat all of the nuts. And we don't know at this point, and we won't know for a while. And now my daughter is 15 and she's able to really do a lot of the dosing herself, which means that a big part of this decision is up to her. And we've all decided, we've talked about it, and she wants to keep going and we want to keep going. So that's where we're at. And I know we're in this for the long haul. Okay, another question that I have is what are the side effects of OIT? And we have not seen many physical side effects, if any at all. I think the biggest effects we've noticed are lifestyle related. So for example, we need to keep doing those daily doses every day. And if we end up forgetting to do them for more than 3 to 5 days, or we want to travel and we can't do those doses for some reason, we actually need to go back into the allergist to do another challenge before we start again. So it's pretty important that we keep doing them every single day. I think the only times that we have not is maybe when my daughter has been really sick, because you also can't take your doses when you have a fever or you're so sick you can't go to school, that kind of thing. So if she gets sick with that or with the cold or flu or before COVID, she is supposed to stop her daily doses. And if she has to stop for longer than 3 days, again, we would need to go into the allergist and possibly re-challenge before starting again. Another lifestyle effect is exercise. When you're doing the daily doses, you cannot schedule exercise for at least an hour after each dose or even before. Another thing to remember is that she needs to have someone around who knows how to manage anaphylaxis for at least an hour after each dose. So we can't just send her off to school and say it's all fine. We have to kind of be around. So it's a little tricky to navigate when we have lots of activities going on. And we find that taking the dose right when my daughter wakes up usually works the best, since there's about an hour before we leave the house for school. If you've been here for any amount of time, you know that our family loves to travel. And so one of the big things that we run into is that we have to remember her dose amounts even while we're traveling. It doesn't change. We still have to do everything the same. So we really have to prepare for that and bring along her doses when we travel. Another lifestyle side effect, if you may, is the amount of peanut or nut needs to be stable. And the reason why this affects you is that you have to make sure that there is the proper millimeter dose, which meant for a long time she couldn't have any additional traces of nuts. And we had to act as if she had her full-on allergy, just like we did before we started this OIT process. So that meant that we could not have any traces, no may contains, nothing like that. We had to act just as if there was nothing different, that she still had her same allergy. That being said, there was a time, and there is a time now, when the doctor has told us that she now can have may contain other nuts or even peanuts. And honestly, this is our biggest milestone yet. It has been life-changing. It seems like something so small, but I know you allergy moms are going to know that has made a big difference in our lives. So even though we're not done this journey yet, we know that it has already helped our lives, which is amazing. And as I mentioned before, one of the other lifestyle side effects is that there is anxiety that comes with this treatment, especially in the beginning and every time we do an updose challenge. I don't know if there's any way to completely stop that anxiety, and I think everybody's going to manage it a little bit differently, but it's important to understand that it's there and to talk about it and to really realize this, because it's hard to kind of picture it in the beginning. You don't really understand what it's going to be like when you're going through it. So to know that it is anxiety is a part of it is important, I think. And as I mentioned, I do have some coping strategies to make oral challenges less scary, and I will post that blog post link in the show notes. Another common question that I get about OIT and our journey is, how long does it take? And I think this is something that honestly you have to ask your doctor to know, because it depends on which allergens you're working on and how many there are. Because if you think about tree nuts and peanuts, there's a lot of different tree nuts. So it takes us a long time. It's been 6 or 7 years already, and it's going to be lots more still. So I think that it's important to remember that it's actually probably going to take longer than you think. And while you're doing it, you're still going to have to live as if you have those allergies. So you're still going to need to be hypervigilant with traces of the allergen. You're still going to have to talk to your teacher every single year. You're still going to have to talk to friends and family before social events and birthday parties. You're still going to have to always check with those restaurants before you're dining out. And you're going to have to live as if you have a full allergy. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that OIT allergy treatment is life-changing, but it doesn't happen overnight, and the lifestyle doesn't change while you're doing it. So make sure that you're learning all the things that are going to help you during this time if you do choose OIT, because it doesn't have to be as hard as you think it does. You can make food allergy life safer and less stressful even as you're going through this process. As I wrap up here today, I just want to remind you that yes, OIT is a life-changing treatment for severe food allergies, and I am thankful that we've been lucky enough to take part and begin this process for our daughter, and we're excited about how it's going to improve her life. That said, it does take time, commitment, and mental resolve. And it's not for everyone. Sometimes, for various reasons, avoidance is the best option for your child. And if this is where you're at, I really want to encourage you, because I know it can feel discouraging if you think that everyone else is doing OIT or Xolair or something else, and it just feels like you're the only one who's not. But I want to let you know that with extra planning and attention, you can still enjoy travel. You can still have safety at school. You can still live a normal life. And I want you to check out my workshops and template packs for ways to help you in your lifestyle so that food allergy life is easier and less scary. Either way, I hope this post has helped you understand a little bit more about our OIT journey, and I hope it helped you make a decision about your own journey. Thanks for listening, and bye for now. Before you go, Mama, if you love this episode and want deeper support, head over to friendlypantry.com to see how we can partner together to keep your food allergy child safer and worry less. There's no need for wasting time searching all over Instagram, TikTok, and the web to get the practical knowledge you need for your family. While you're there, grab your free Food Allergy Kids Empowerment Guide or the newly diagnosed checklist today. Topics are not medical advice and are the opinions, views, and property of Friendly Pantry Consulting Incorporated. All rights reserved. Always contact your board-certified allergist immunologist for health advice.